You all read the title of the film, The Ultimate Freedom. Ultimate freedom means complete freedom in body, in mind, and in the self itself. In order to experience this total freedom, Indian sages and saints introduce the subject called yoga. Yoga is a union of the body with the mind, mind with the soul, so that this trinity of the man are brought together so that he lives in that state of peace and poise. Yoga is a means for freedom, and yoga is the end in freedom itself. Yoga means complete subjugation or sublimation of the waves of thought which move in various directions. When the thought waves are completely stilled, the mind remains like the sea without any waves, completely silent and serene. So also man, when he realizes and struggles to still that wandering mind with various thoughts, he experiences the self which has no color, which has no form, which has no shape. In order to experience that self, yoga has various steps called the physical discipline, the moral discipline, the intellectual discipline, and the spiritual discipline. As long as ethical discipline is not maintained, the freedom is not at all experienced. The end of discipline is the beginning of freedom. Our human system, physically, physiologically, psychologically, and spiritually, moves like the rays of the sun in various directions, sometimes with clarity, sometimes with clouded movement. In order to win, to conquer this inner oscillation of the self with the mind, you have to come to the concrete, the body, which is the temple or which is the vehicle of the spirit. We have been given only this capital, the body, in order to realize the trueness of the self. As long as the body, which is the temple of the self, is not kept clean, healthy, pure, and holy, the mind is not at all released from the bondage. So, the physical discipline are given, like the asanas, pranayamas, and meditations. The ethical discipline being that this body, which has not come on our own volition, but it has been given to us. And if this body is abused or neglected, we are neglecting the self. So we have neglected the freedom. So in order to have the disciplined inner freedom, the body, which is the capital, has to be conquered. so that the mind is completely freed from the attachment of the body and get itself attached to the self. Today, I am going to show the asanas and pranayama so that each and every part of our body, each and every limb of our body, unless and until they are completely released from the tension, the subtle body, which is the mind, cannot be known, cannot be seen, cannot be understood. So these asanas are meant to conquer the known so that the known dissolves in the unknown. So today I am doing some of the postures which I am sure will interest and ignite the people who see this film so that they also benefit as I benefited. I was attacked by tuberculosis and I started yoga to gain that health. Today, by the grace of this practice of yoga, I have not only conquered the tuberculosis, but I have conquered the mind and also the self. So when an unhealthy man could reach that highest state of freedom, because when the body and the mind both are released from the tension, there is ultimate freedom, because I live eternally in the present. And that present alone is freedom, and I'm sure that many of you who are going to view this, if they take to practice, they realize what real freedom is. Now I'm starting with a few simple postures from the basic postures and how a man can develop. This is called the Trikonasana or the triangular pose. You can see me when I'm doing that each and every portion of my body is extended in various directions, keeping contact with myself. Parivritta Trikonasana or the lateral triangular pose, where the spine gets a lateral movement. You can see the movement of my back. Uttita Parshva Konasana or the plank angular pose. You can see here how the knuckles of my toes, the knee, the hip, the ankle, the waist, everything stretches in that freedom, doing its job independently, at the same time remaining in contact with the inner intellect. Same, but a revolving movement. You can see the stretch of the hind leg. Virabhadrasana. All the variations of the standing postures. As the left hand is moving forward, you can see the other hand moving backwards. Ardha Chandrasana or the half moon pose.
Watch even the toes, how they stretch. Even that little toe.
Parshottanasana. How? We have to fold our palms as we fold in the front.
It's a forward movement, extension of the spine.
Then comes the Uttanasana, what we call the forward bench. In this modern technological world, we have lost the resonance of the spine. So that's why today, majority of the people are suffering from psoriasis, slip discs and all, because there is no movement of the spine. So as we start moving, you can see how the spine is elongated and how the body bends. These are the basic standing poses. If you must have seen persons when they are not stable in their brain, they cannot stand also steadily. So these postures help for the people who are underdeveloped in their brain, helps the legs to strengthen so that they can stand firmly, because if we know the art of balancing the feet correctly, the brain floats in that fluid accurately. If the standing is wrong, the brain also cannot float exactly in the center. And these poses are meant for the brain to be floated so that there is harmony in the brain. Now, I'm showing you the Surya Namaskar, which are nothing but a part of yoga. This is known as Chaturanga Dandasana, or balancing the body on the tip of the toe and the palms without touching the floor. This is known as the Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, or the dog when it stretches the front legs, how the spine is stretched. So man sees, the yogis have seen and adjusted. Urdhva Mukha Svanasana, stretching the hind leg from the laziness. This is what others term as Surya Namaskar, but each has a name, so they are part of yoga. Now, Janu Shirishasana. I'm showing all the postures have to be done dynamically in those movements. But as the film is short, I have to show only the variations, but those who know can do the way in which I showed. Janu means the knee, Shirsha means the head. So the head of the knee has to be stretched backwards and the trunk forward. Here you can feel the stretching of the back of the trunk. The skin, extension of the skin will give you an idea what movement it gives. Parivritta Shirishasana, or the lateral movement of the spine. You can see now how the extension of the liver takes place, whereas in the first one, it was the contraction of the liver. Same, but different variations in the forward bends. This is known as Ardha Baddha Padma Paschimottanasana, half lotus foot with one leg and extended leg with the other. Words may not convey the work what I am presenting, but I am sure my work will present you and give you a better idea than my words. Because you can see the word ultimate means each and every porous of my skin, each and every part of my body, each and every race of my intelligence has to work penetrating from the extreme end of my foot to the extreme end of the top of my skull. That is known as ultimate freedom, where there is, without any obstruction, my intellect can penetrate. Kronchasana. Kroncha means a mountain, stretching the body like a mountain. There's a big body with the top. Marichasana, the lateral movement or the stiffness of the arms, stiffness of the elbows can be worked. You can see in that grip that when one arm is contracting, the other is extending and pulling. Doing the job independently and separately. Paschimottanasana. Paschima means the west. What you call the posterior movement. This is the anterior body, this is the posterior body, this is the south, this is the north, this is the east, this is the west. So in this posture, the energy has to move from the heel towards the crown of the head. And that's why it is called Paschimottanasana. You can see the action even on the skin of the bottom of the feet. That many people who may be trying, they keep their feet dead, but see the life energy, how it has to flow in the stretch. This is known as Lolasana. Virasana. You can see how the pliability of the knee, the ankle, the hip joints have to be acquired. These days, we all sit on the chair, so our movements are minimized. Due to the minimized movement, we are giving room for the calcium to form in those joints and how the stiffness comes. So the yogis in olden days, having no apparatus to use their own bodies as instruments, and they mastered and got the freedom in their body. This is Parvatasana. Watch the movement of the elbows, arms, wrists, fingers. I'm explaining specially to know that the freedom in each and every joint. Supta Virasana. This is a very good pose for people who suffer from gastritis, flatulence, indigestion. Even if after food, if one feels heavy, if they lie down in this position for about 5 minutes, they definitely feel the lightness in the abdominal organs. You can see the extension of the abdominal organs, where the diaphragm compresses and massages the abdominal organs. Paryankasana, or like a pillow, resemblance of a pillow. Now Padmasana. Just sitting like that is known as Padmasana or the lotus pose. This is a firm lotus pose. This is Yoga Mudrasana. Here, when the head is bent, the heel compresses the abdominal organs. And the compression of the abdominal organs makes the blood to circulate more in those areas. When you come up from that position, that's how those organs are kept healthy. Garbhapindasana, or the fetus in the womb. In the reverse position. Navasana. Nava means boat, shape of the boat. To strengthen the abdominal organs. Same, that's a full boat pose, this is the half. Uttana Padasana. You have seen the bridge. So also man can form a human bridge called Setubandhasana. Chakrasana, or the wheel. Upavishta Konasana. Extension of the leg to the sides. This is very good exercise for ladies also. Even at the time of pregnancy, if these processes are continued, there is less labor pain. Baddha Konasana, or the cobbler's pose. The cobblers fix their shoes in between the feet and they sew. And that's the reason why this name is taken as cobbler's pose. Now I'm showing you Shirshasana, or the head balance.
This is head balance. Brain needs 1/6 of our oxidized blood. When you stand on your head, due to the gravity, liquid finds its own level. So without any injury, because the arteries have the power, have the valves to contract and pump the blood. So it does not disturb at all, and it oxidizes the whole brain cells. And that's why it is known as the king of all asanas. Now I'm showing you the variations in head balance. Lateral movement of the spine. Scissors. Boss stretch of the legs. Was the top leg toe also. As this toe is facing the floor, that toe is extended upwards. What I say, freedom from each and every part of our body. Unless and until the freedom is gained in the body, freedom of the mind is a far-fetched idea. How I am synchronizing the movement with the breath. That is head balance. As we all stand on our feet, probably about 15 hours every day, even if we stand at least 15 minutes on our head, we will be free from the very troubles of the varicose veins. Bhujapedasana. Balancing the body on our own shoulders. It's very interesting to know that the art of yoga is not only meant to keep oneself healthy, but they have to keep the body light. And that's why yogis have given lots of postures to lighten the weight of their bodies. Kurmasana, or the turtle. Like a shell. Like the turtle has got this shell, here the back becomes like the shell of a turtle. When this total ghost takes its limbs inside, come what may, it is never disturbed. So also the yogi, by imitating the total, he goes within himself. The external world is completely dark to him. So he is in contact with himself in this position.
Ekapada Shirishasana. You will see that the modern science has not given the range of movements of each and every joints of our body. Here, you get an opportunity to say that the degree of movement is beyond the present day medical science. Ekapada Shirishasana. As you sit comfortably on a chair, each and every pose, when with effort perfected, it is as comfortable as one sitting on a chair.
Skandasana.
Bhairavasana, the pose of Lord Shiva. Chakorasana, or a bird, how it flies. Name of a sage, Durvasa. Yoga Nidrasana, or the yogi sleeping posture. How the yogis use their body as bed, pillow, and cover. This is the pillow, this is the bed, and this gripping is the cover. Now I show you some of the rotation or the lateral movements of the spine. This is called Marichyasana, the son of Lord Brahma, the creator. He did pronounce in this posture. Ardhamatsendrasana, or the half fish pose. You see the lower body representing the fish, and the top body, the human being. You can see the chest also, how the body is completely, half the body, completely divided or turned, each trunk 180 degrees this side, legs 180 degrees that side. Pashasana, a little more intense than the first two.
putting a knot or a tie to the whole body using the arms as the rope. Was the movement of the thoracic dorsal spine and the lumbar spine. The Paripurna Matsyendrasana, or the full twist. Sarvangasana. Sarva means whole, anga means limbs, where the whole body is exercised in this one. This is Shavasana. Shavasana means not just dropping the body to the floor and saying I'm relaxing. It is the body, it is the mind, and the self. All the three have to be kept in a state of suspense. Watch the extension of the legs. Just the toes are not extended from the source of the leg. The toes are stretched so that the toes are in contact with the inner body. This is Sarvangasana. Here, the thyroid glands bathe in blood, so the secretion improves. As in head balance, the pineal and the pituitary glands, they bathe in blood. So in yoga, the finest advantage is that if the glands are overworking, they are nullified. If they are underworking, they are activized. Halasana, or the plow. Variation in Sarvangasana. As the farmer plows the field and makes the soil soft, the yogi, by performing these postures, plows his nerves, plows his organs, so that they can germinate and produce a better life. You can see that when yoga is practiced, there should be tremendous refinement in the body. As a sculptor uses the chisel, as a painter uses the brush and the color, as a musician uses the instruments like piano, violin, the yogi uses his own body to refine his inner intelligence. Parshva Halasana or lateral propose. Supta Konasana. Lateral Sarvangasana. You can see these various movements in one posture. Educates the whole system. So one can do according to the timings. If the time is very short at the disposal, in one posture they can work all the organs. As I told you in the beginning, when the whole system, physical and physiological system of the body is completely kept healthy, the mind is free from the conflicts of the body. Man is free from disease. So as he is free from the physical and the physiological disease, the intellect becomes clear, stable. So the ultimate freedom is that when the body is released from the shackles of diseases, and when the mind is free from the shackles of fears, then the intellect is ever alert, ever active. And in that activity alone there is creativity. In that creativity alone there is freedom. And in that freedom alone there is precision. And in that precision alone there is God, or there is truth. So all these postures lead to experience that inner, the invisible, the truth. The ultimate truth means the wisdom which can never be shaken, which has no oscillations, which has no doubts. So all these postures, when perfectly done, take one to that extreme, subtle peace, which you call truth. See the movement on the transverse colons. So how can we suffer from constipation? Constipation is the mother of all diseases. So when that is, get rid of the toxins, one knows what real health of the abdominal organs are. Sapta Padangushtasana. Pada means leg, Angushta means the big toe. So holding the big toe, exercising. Even you can see how the toe is stretching out. As this leg is moving forward, that leg is extended backwards. This is good for sciatica pain. I have completed the whole cycle of the shoulder balance, where each and every portion of the organs of the body are exercised. You can see that I have shown so many movements. My body is not in one piece. As my joints, we have got about hundreds of joints in our body. As each and every joint has its own freedom, only I know what freedom is. Because my body is in pieces, so my mind is free.
And for the average person, the body is one piece, so their minds are in pieces. Now, I'm showing you some balancing poses. This is known as Bakasana, or the crane, shape of the crane. The same but lateral stretch. Kaundinyasana. In the previous one, the leg was bent and balanced. Here, both the legs are stretched. With one leg side and the other leg back, balancing body in different directions. This is the spurting cock. Same with a lateral stretch. Ekapada Bakasana. Here, the one leg is kept like the crane, leg of the crane, and other one is released and balanced, where one needs a tremendous strength in the abdominal organs. Now I'm taking one leg to the front and one in the position of the crane. I've shown you in various directions how the body could be moved. Now, I'm showing you the extension of the spine, which you all call it as backward stretch. This is the prostration in yoga in a reverse way. As we go to the church and we salute, the yogis salute like that.
Mandalasana, or the circumferencing the body. Now the reverse way. How the axis of the spine contracts and extends at the same time. Watch the stretch. The pigeon pose. The scorpion pose. The scorpion has the poison in its tail. The humans have the poisons in their brain. So it is to humiliate the intoxicated brain. This is the resemblance of the scorpion. Rajakapotasana. How, one after the other, the posture extends the spine more and more. As I told you, in the beginning alone, that we have to master the known fully to understand the unknown. This is the cobra pose. As we salute, like Thanksgiving, I also salute with my feet. Yes, back. You know, about 56 minutes, I was completely, except a part, completely naked. Truth is completely naked. So ultimate truth should be completely, ultimately naked. That means the body, the intellect of the brain, and the intellect of the heart should be completely naked, free. Do not be frightened by seeing all the postures that it is impossible for you to perform. Believe me, when I started yoga with that wretched disease, my fingers could not even touch my knee. And with constant effort and unflowing enthusiasm, I struggled very hard, and today I am completely happy because I am standing on my own altar, and my poses are my prayers, and my poses are everything what I do.
Today, everybody gets confused about meditation. Whatever I've shown you, is concrete meditation or active meditation. Remaining in a state of loneliness is not meditation. Remaining in a state of sensual pleasure is not meditation. The self has no pleasures. The self has no pain. So true meditation should bring enlightenment, illumination, creativity, activity, fullness, and aloneness. As long as that meditation do not give that fullness, that meditation has absolutely no meaning at all. It is as good as a man who takes drugs and sleeps for 24 hours. Friends, yoga is meditation, yoga is action. Patanjali, when he explains, he only speaks about the discipline of yoga. And when the discipline ends, he calls in the last chapter as an integrated yoga. So here, what I've shown you is to integrate the body, which is nothing but inertic part, mind being rajasic part, which is always vibrant, to be one with the self, which is ever pure, ever silent, ever in a state of poise. There is no bliss for the self. There is only bliss for the mind. The self has only two things: the continuity, eternal, and pure. But there is no bliss. So if you all practice yoga with that poise in the self, merging the mind and the body and transforming them so that they merge with that infinite self, I say that you have done a wonderful thing having taken this human form. And this is the foundation. Let this foundation lead you to the highest level of what I say, purity and eternity. Thank you very much.